Welcome back to another Secrets of the Pros here, Pristine Production here. I'm your mastering and mixing engineer, musician, Andrew Rayburn. I want to shout out to all the subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. Continue to keep it going. And I'll be sure to check out some of my new videos. I did one on the Roland Cloud XV5080 talking about the sounds and what it can do to your mix. Check out one of my most viewed, almost I hit 1,000 views, Wave Overvox Mixing Lush Vocal Effects. And today we're going to be doing something special here. Also, feel free to subscribe to my Mix and Master contest. You can just go ahead and subscribe. And you can go ahead and enter into my contest and send me your best mix song. And when we hit 300 subscribers, we'll be naming first prize winners. We'll be getting the Waves Complete 2020, which is version 11. I have 10 here, but I'm going to give away the 11. And the Akai drum kit library. Be sure to look that up, guys. And today we're going to be talking about Afro Trap Fusion here, pro mixing here. This is going to be featuring Lady Ice. Now we're going to be taking the trap vibe, the trap, and combine it with some Afro pop kind of fusion. Lady Ice is from Belize. She's a Belizean artist. And she's a dancehall and R&B and also reggae and soca artist as well. So, and she wanted something new to this song. She did a track here. It's actually a cover. And if I could bring up Ice, there she is. It's going to be I Don't Belong to You. It's a cover remix produced by me, Andrew Rayburn. And design is by me as well. And we're going to be showing you how the mix session look. And why you need to get your session to look like this. You might see a lot of tracks, but it'll pay off in the end. So without further ado, let's go right into it here. So I'm going to play the track here from Lady Ice, and I want you to listen to the fusion of the trap along with that Afro beat. So here we go.
Keep it on a down low. Keep it on a down low. I don't belong to you. Keep it on a down low. Keep it on a down low. I don't belong to you. Ain't no point in up in your fence. Baby, I know we don't want the same thing. While you're caught up in your feelings, I feel the same as I did yesterday. Baby, we've been through this, and I feel the same way. I know you don't wanna hear this, and I hate to say it. I don't told you, I don't showed you. Now you wanna act like I tricked you. Ooh, but I sleep. Can't you see? There's a difference between me, you and the she. I don't belong to you.
So I'm gonna stop there. There you can hear that Afro vibe coming, that Afro beat, like that dancehall soca kind of thing here. And then we started off with the trap beat. So let's jump right into it here. Normally, guys, this is what my mix session looks like when I'm mixing here. You might say, "Wait, what are you doing with 100 faders here? What is all this doing?" All this is needed, and I will say this: if you want to do professional mixing and get your stuff to be on par, I never used to mix like this when I started. I used to have like, maybe 8, 9 tracks the most, a little bit of reverb or something. But as I go out through the years and learning how to mix and master and the art of routing, giving your mix more weight and how you can get away with more sound spectrum, more space, there's the need for auxiliary tracks and sends and extra parallel tracks and all that stuff. So eventually your work will start to look like this. Some of the other professionals have bigger sessions than these. They have like 50 tracks and they have to like bounce it down, to maybe about 1920. Look up people like Chris Lord Algie, and you might see stuff like this. I have a CLA 76 here. I have a Pro EQ here running, along with a little bit of auto-tune, SSL channel strip here, moving also with a de-esser and another Q10 here. You might say, "Man, what is this guy doing?" But naturally, I know what I want and what I need, so I have to add these things. I'm not adding it for style. So let's get into it. So here is, I started off with the sounds here. That's coming from a Dune, and did a little bit of EQ there. So I'm doing this at about 91.98 the BPM, and I'm using the, let's see what I got here. I'm using a dedicated trap drum machine here. Is the Curvage Audio, which I'm getting that trap kick from. So what I went ahead and did with that, I did a little bit of EQ here using the SSL EQ because it sounds great. You can get away with a lot of bottom end and high end with it. I'm doing a little bit of high pass here. So I'm preparing this kick here. It already sounds nice, but I'm preparing it to dominate in the mix here. So I'm doing that, and I'm sending it to a parallel compression chain here. So if I go ahead and play the sound, on a parallel chain here, I have the CLA, a 3A, along with the Puke Tech here. I'm boosting a little bit of 60 because this is trap. We want some big low end. Let's engage the parallel. Do you hear that punch? Off, on, and feeding after that parallel compression chain here. I'm adding a little bit more of 50 here, about a dB. You get a little bit more punch and power, a little bit more bottom end here. And on top of that, I'm sending both kicks to a drum bus, so you can see the reason why I have to do these processing here. So that's what I started off with there. And I also combine a little bit of live drumming here from a Slate Digital Sampler 4. So I'm adding, let's bring up the snare here from the trap. With a little bit of SSL here. Just getting a little bit of color. You might say, Ray, what do you mean by color? When the signal is passing through these analog plugins, you're already getting a nice little color on your signal. So you have to be a real good listener to really know what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm doing that. I'm setting a little bit of, I wanted to open up the snare a little bit, so I'm setting it to a little bit of doubler, a little bit of pitch shift here, getting that off, on. Let me check my buses. Let's see here. Okay. And I have the hi-hats here. So if you want to mix fat, you have to make sure you're adding power. Sometimes the samples you don't have to do much, but still you need to add a little more weight to get that finished sound here. So I have the hi-hats there. Have a second snare here. I didn't put any EQ in it. Just let's take it up a little bit here. A little bit of volume. That's what I have going on there. Also, the entire drum kit here, I'm sending that through a left and right. I'm kind of creating an overheads vibe of the entire drum kit. Now I'm adding the overheads from the Slate Digital. Let's exaggerate that for a minute. I wanted a big sound, right? So I added a couple of a snare here, so I'm gonna play that part. Yeah, let's do that. Here's a live snare. So I'm getting like a live feel here, and let's go down to the dark bass here. Originally from, I believe it's Dune or Serum here. So what I did to clean up a little bit lower end, I'm rolling off a little bit of 85. I don't have to go crazy, and I see some people do this, like they go like 490, take away some of the weight from the sound. Just remove what you don't need and keep everything else intact. So a little bit of 85 is good enough for me. It's not getting in the way of the bass. Putting a little L2 on it. That's gonna make room for the bass here from the Serum here. And I'm using the, let's check that real quick, the 808 boom preset. And I'm rolling off about 60 so I can keep a little bit more of that 808, keep that heavy weight, but removing a little bit so it doesn't go overwhelming here, because we want the 808 kick drums to be punchy and want the 808 bass to be booming as well. And I'm notching out just a little bit of 1 dB, and I can actually hear the difference. So practice your listening, guys. So let's hear what this big 808 here is doing here. And here comes the bass. And then I have another instance here of the Dune. This is the Chill Out Cafe. This is what I'm adding, like that delay vocoder sound. Let me play it here. Adding a little bit of L2 here. Once again, all I'm doing is rolling off a little bit of 110 here. That's the roll off thing. I'm leaving the rest of the sound original and natural. I'm not going crazy, boosting highs all over the place and all these things. A lot of engineers beginner engineers make that mistake here. So over the years, it took me a while, guys. So I know what I'm teaching you here. Less is more. So let's go ahead now and add in the rest of the sound here. Let's see what else I got here. I have the FM8 from Native Instruments, a little bit of reggae echo here. You're gonna hear that. So let's get down to the vocal parts here. I think this is a more interesting part here. Now here's Lady Ice, a lead vocal here. I'm gonna play that along with just the synthesizer bass and the dark bass here.
Keeping on it down low. I don't belong to you. Ain't no way that's in up in your fence. Baby, I know we don't want the same thing.
Now if I take off all my sends here, this is what I end up with.
While you're caught up in your feelings, I feel the same as I did yesterday. Baby, we've been through this.
Now I have a lot of stuff. Well, I have a compressor running on her and a little bit of Q10 and the SSL channel here, just to push her voice a little bit more. I'm probably compressing her voice to get a little bit more power, a little bit more volume naturally, so I can get a jump start in the ballpark there. And
I feel the same way.
so for tracks like these, you want to make sure you're creating a vibe. And also, I was doing some automation here. You might not hear it, unless I tell you it was automation. So when Lady Ice reaches a certain part of the song, let's see, right about here, I increased the volume because she was singing on a lower note, so it can be a little bit more present. Then I take it down.
Baby, you know we don't want the same thing.
Obviously you wouldn't have known that because I did it so well. You didn't know what automation was happening in the track. Sometimes, as good as you are, professional as you are mixing vocals, a lot of engineers will tell you this. Sometimes you gotta automate certain parts of the vocals to sit just right, because sometimes there's no one park setting on the fader. So to create that vibe,
I don't told you.
that big reverb sound for Lady Ice, first thing I did is pull up the reverb here. And I'm using the R verb. I created my own preset. I call it the Ray Big Verb. Setting it generally about the timing to about 3, sometimes 4. I'm doing a pre-delay about 15. Remember those settings and test them out for yourself. I'm using a plate because when the vocal cuts through a plate, I don't get too much of that artifacts or washed out sound. So you need to tune the reverb to get you in the ballpark there. And I'm doing a little bit of EQ, knocking out a little bit of the 2K there, so the reverb is just flowing with Ice ad-libs and high-end top vocals there. So I'm going to turn on the reverb.
I done showed you, now you wanna.
Now that's just the reverb by itself, and you want to make it more gigantic. What I did is I send the signal through H delay ping pong mode, and the output of that H delay is sending through the reverb as well. So I turn that on.
Act like I tricked you, ooh, but I sleep.
And I didn't stop there. Send it through the waves doubler as well. Turn off direct signal to get a little bit more space.
Can't you see there's a difference between me, you and the cheat? I don't belong to you.
Off.
Keep it on a down low.
On.
Oh, keep it on a.
And I didn't stop there. I said I need some more vibe as I was mixing the sound. A little bit more vocal throw. So I went ahead and sent her through GTR here. Got a little bit of distortion, a little bit of answer back. So I create that vibe. Here we go.
Down low. I don't belong to you. Keep it on a down low. Ooh.
So now her vocal is competing with the rest, and doing a little bit of 76 compression here.
Keep it on a down low.
I'm compressing about -7 dB here, and I'm boosting about 10K, about 11 dB. It's a big boost to capture that that more clarity on her tone.
I don't belong to you.
Off on SSL.
Now you wanna act like I tricked you. Ooh, but I see.
Adding a little bit of 8K there.
Can't you see?
A little bit of DS.
Difference between me and this shit. I don't belong to you.
And there you get that big spread. Now I'm using the Q10 as a little bit of, this is what you call pure surgery here. So remember what I taught you guys. You want to boost, enhance, mix, use your analog plugin. If you want to do surgery, knock out the resonance, something that is affecting the signal, use a clean EQ, and Q10 is one of the best. And I went ahead and did a little bit of RX here. Wanted to clean up some of the mouth click from her voice on the mic there, so that gives me a cleaner sound, and that is what I got there.
Keeping on it down low.
So now to top it off there, I'm also using the Ozone 9. And when you're mastering, guys, it's good to experiment. I split up the band here to about 4 here, so everything below 154 is going to be mono. I'm boosting a little bit of the lower mids here. Just a little bit here. I don't want to go too much because it's going to change the whole vibe of the mix. I want to make sure her vocals is intact. So I'm boosting about 15, and then I go to the second mid-range here.
Keeping on it down low. I don't belong to you. Keeping on it down low.
I was able to get away with a little bit more space here in this section here without losing her voice, because sometimes if you push the stereo width too hard, you're going to lose the vocal. It's going to sound a little bit quiet, so you're kind of sacrificing there to get a wider sound. Then on the top end here, I went a little bit more crazy there, you know. Boost the top end, space out the hi-hats a little bit, and the snare drum and those stuff to get a wider sound while keeping her vocals intact. So
Keeping on it down low.
bypass
I don't belong to you. Ain't nobody say no big fans.
on.
Baby, you know we don't want the same things. While you're caught up in your feelings, I feel the same as I did yesterday. Baby, we've been through this, and I feel the same way.
Nothing sounds better, man, when you're mixing professional and you hear that vocal right there. It's not going anywhere, and you hear the nice surrounding mix around it. So practice hard, guys, and work hard on your craft. On the drum bus itself, I'm not doing much, just setting it through the CLA mix hub here, rolling off a little bit 31 just to give me a little bit of safe zone real estate here so nothing gets too overcrowded and overweight. And that's pretty much what I did. When I kicked in the silent here, did a little bit of EQ. That's what I did to start up the Afro part of it. Just a little bit of roll off there.
I know you don't wanna hear this, and I hate to say it. Don't do it innocent on the pawn that you play.
So I want to stop there, guys. Remember to support and subscribe to my page. Keep the views coming. Keep the subscription coming. I promise you, we're gonna be putting out more videos. Also, don't be afraid to comment and request what you would like me to show you. You might say, "Hey Ray, I'm struggling with like the kick drums. Can you do something more about the kick drum? How to get that mega low end?" I'll be happy to do stuff like that. You know, you're the fan, so I'm here to serve y'all. So without further ado, I'll catch you on the next one. That is the conclusion of Afro Trap. A fusion pro mixing there. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.